see Yogi. Your recent album is called Only Love Is Real. So why Only Love?
George Harrison famously said that all things must pass, and in agreement with that, I believe that all this is temporary, but love will last. And actually, that's been my experience. All the friends that I've known that have passed away, I still feel their love and their presence. And to me, that's just the most important teaching that I could share from my own experience, is that love is the most powerful force in the universe. And when we align with it, great miracles can happen. Things that we never thought were possible start to unfold, because we're tapping into an energy that's greater than ourselves. Or maybe that is ourselves.
So how did you all come together on this project?
Well, we've been traveling and touring together for 7 or 8 years now. And it's just been a great alignment. Drez brings the beats, and MC Yogi brings the beautiful words and poetry, and I'm not sure my role. I think
The
I
stories.
just,
The stories are beautiful.
Stories and the love of yoga, and just lucky to be here. It's very talented people.
So what teachers and teachings most inspire you?
Drez?
As a musician, silence is a great teacher. It kind of shows you the possibilities. And I have experienced a good handful of great yoga teachers, and each other. We all have our moments where we are the teacher or we're the student, and we bounce off of each other, and that's, I suppose, with everyone in life, not just us three, but my wife, my son is my, he's a good example of a guru, and but I think I know a teacher it can be so many things. Like being here this cold and is a teacher of what I may want, may not want in my life. Just so many random things. Randomness is a teacher. I don't know. I know I'm being super
Random?
Random, not specific. But that's been my situation is many teachers have some teachings, but they're not a teacher. It's quite a role to take on. One of my main teachers, yoga teachers, she's like, after I did a teacher training, she said, "You're not a yoga teacher, you teach yoga." That's a big responsibility to say you're a teacher, So I think everybody and everything is a teacher at some point, or can be. So that's why it's such a vague, but maybe specific vague answer.
It's beautiful.
As I shrug.
One of our first teachers was named Larry Schultz, and he's no longer in his body, but that is who our primary first yoga teacher was, and that's how we met. And he had a couple of great teachings that have sustained me over the years. One was he would always tell us, "You're stronger than you think you are." And that is just a great mantra to come back to over and over again when you find yourself feeling doubtful, feeling like maybe I can't do this, maybe this challenge, maybe I should just stay in bed. And so I think that's always been a profound teaching. The other one that he would often share was, yoga will never let you down. And I think that is something I've definitely experienced. The more I practice, the deeper I've gone into my studies. Yoga has become a never-ending well of knowledge, of joy, of enlightened thinking that continues to sustain me teaching has also been very powerful to remember. And I think it's really given us the purpose of going out in the world and sharing yoga.
I think for me, like all the teachings can be found. I actually want to echo what Drez said. Initially, Drez said that silence, and I think the greatest teachings come from just sitting and breathing and listening and like tuning in, because the teacher is everywhere. Every square inch of the universe is chock full of light and wisdom and energy and bliss, and however we can access it, whether it's through meditation or music or poetry. But for me, it's like just listening and feeling, getting into that mood and that space that I receive so much inspiration. And the breath has been one of the best ways I've found. It's just so direct.
Beautiful. So as a group, working with this Only Love tour, is there any specific causes that you're really passionate about that you'd like to share?
Yeah, human suffering. So, that's the big one. And there's a lot of ways to bring relief to the world. One of the things that's really near and dear to our heart is really dedicating our lives to animals, like rescue animals. Our dog was a rescue dog. And there's a lot of animals out there that need homes. So we really feel strongly in that. And, being more vegetarian, there's so many causes. But I think when you look at what is the overarching theme is like suffering. And so what's the best way to really remedy that suffering? First, according to the Buddha, is to acknowledge that it exists. To not, numb ourselves with all the modern conveniences and drugs and distractions. Because everything that we're doing is just to kind of medicate ourselves from the suffering, because we're all dealing with it. We're all in these limited, bound bodies. So once we acknowledge it exists, then we can actually start to be with it and start to work with it, so it begins to subside in our own mind, in our own life. And then in turn, we are generating less suffering for everyone around us, so we can support others really through our presence. Being a good friend, listening, offering advice, and then doing, of course we've done lots of benefits over the years. But I think the main thing is just teaching yoga and offering meditation and music. That in itself is providing a huge relief. So we've dedicated our lives to that, and we'll continue to do that as much as possible.
Thank you. So when people leave your events, in what way do you...
We don't want people to ever leave our
Never leave.
Especially before Shavasana.
Yeah.
Just stay, because I guarantee it's like tea, you let it seep. It takes a moment for it to kick in. So just stay with it. You're gonna hear a lot of bad jokes. You're gonna do some yoga, meditate, hear some music, dance, celebrate, hear some stories. But just stay with it, and a couple hours in, you're gonna be like, whoa, this is a lot weirder and more awesome than I thought it was gonna be.
And it's like a Marvel movie. Like after the credits go up, there's gonna be something else.
Something at the end that you
Awesome.
gotta just hold on for, because that will be the little thing that will lead to the next episode.
Looking forward to tonight. Yeah, so I was just going to say though, when it does end and they leave finally after all the awesomeness, what would you hope that they take with them, and how they share that with the rest of the world?
Hopefully they don't take as much with them as they leave behind, because the idea is that if you come heavy, you leave light. It's like going to the car wash. We call it the karma wash, right? Like you go with this thin layer of film or dust, and you leave with that shine. So that's really the purpose of why we make music, why we teach yoga, so that you can leave feeling a little lighter, carrying a little less.
And that will naturally have a ripple effect. It doesn't need to be so specific. If you are able to shift your energy through good music and being with good people, that nourishment, and then you go back home, you're automatically, that your presence will shift everybody you encounter the next day, the day after, the day after. Like it has a ongoing wave.
And to leave knowing that, with the knowing that it's accessible, like the feeling they have in a moment of I was going to say a moment of bliss, or just a moment of simple happiness, or giving less attention to worry. To know that you can access that.
Because just like everyone is suffering, everyone has access to joy and happiness. You know, and often we just need a reminder to choose it, and when we choose it collectively, it's very powerful.
And the good news is it doesn't cost any money to like move into that state or that feeling. So when you come to like these festivals and have like these peak moments, like you get it, and then the more times you have those experiences, the easier it becomes a part of your natural everyday sort of rhythm and pattern to go into that space on your own. You know, whether it's through your meditation or making food for your kids or whatever it is, like the more you have those moments, the more you start to like grow that feeling in the rest of your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, beautiful. So one thing I would like to say, because I started researching you guys a lot, and of course sharing the love and all your videos, and spending some time with you now in the last couple of days. And DJ Drez, one thing I find is that you're super down to earth. You're just like a really cool person just to talk to. And so thank you.
Thank you.
And Amanda, you're just extremely sweet. You're just really sweet and kind. I can tell you just have such a big heart. So thank you.
And she's gluten free.
And MC Yogi, I would have never thought that you're so like funny. You're always cracking jokes and
Funny.
yeah, funny. You are. You're actually really funny,
Funny.
and you're extremely kind as well.
Thank you.
You have a very kind heart, and so grateful that you guys have come.
And you are like all three of those things, because when you picked us up from the airport, you had cookies and chai for us.
We were in heaven.
That was amazing. Who does that?
You like mind
You
read.
didn't have that for me.
Telepathic.
She
You
had a
didn't
couple
put on
of
the
kids in
ice.
the back seat. That's all.
Nothing was open when I went to pick you up.
I got to partake in some of that delicious cookie thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Good.
Doc,
You had
for
a blanket
your
for
kindness.
me.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was- yeah.
There's lots of love in that
Yeah,
too.
thank you.
Okay, so the last question I have is just really if there's anything that each of you would like to share, maybe that I didn't cover, or even talk about or touch on around the tour or around your visions.
Well,
Or
I have
anything.
something. I think it's so fascinating to come out of our little hamlet where we live in Northern California, and it seems like wherever we go now, we discover that there's whole communities of yogis, there's whole communities of like really awesome, kind people who share values of doing good things in the world and protecting the earth. And I think it's just so encouraging to travel and keep meeting people like yourself and the people here in Kelowna. And I think it's wonderful to come together and recognize that it is a great groundswell of goodness in the world.
Yeah, I think, in fact, like the more we travel and see that, the more I start to feel like we actually could drop the ring in the volcano and destroy the Eye of Mordor and kind of win. Like, there's enough of us that we actually could save the Earth if we really, really wanted to. So
I think this tour is about us sharing, our years of practice or whatever we've learned from our teachers, and it's just as much as us like feeling the love and experiencing that it's everywhere.
And maybe it's not so much
many
about
people.
us saving the Earth, but just allowing the Earth to save us.
He and I both came out with new albums this year.
That's true.
And we think that they're quite good, and we would love it if people would support the artists that they really enjoy listening to, and not just listen to them on a streaming app,
Yeah.
because
We go
those
to the Canadian version of iTunes.
right. Because those streaming things don't really support us well. They're really not artist friendly. So things like iTunes, Amazon, whatever the digital store
Bandcamp,
is,
yeah.
we're on there, and so we're grateful.
And another great way to support us is by following us on Instagram.
Instagram, yeah, absolutely,
Facebook.
and coming to the
Yeah.
shows,
Yeah.
and this is a beautiful job that isn't work, you know, and the support
Are you
is
a
helpful.
are you a legend in the making?
I am.
I'm a legend in my own mind.
I'm a borderline genius.
Drez is the most humble legend ever.
So, what are the albums? Like, can you share the albums? So
Drez's album just came out with a new album with his wife called Dreaming in Sanskrit with Marty Nico, which is available. And Drez has like
A billion albums.
20
You
albums.
should just get them all. They're all
Yeah.
really
I have a lot of
Listen.
albums.
you could listen to all of them. Like I think like the
Chanting with Tigers,
Yeah.
Lotus Memoirs. Those are some of my favorites.
Thank you. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Only Love Is Real, the tour that we're on now, is in support of this hip hop singing alternative
Give
kind
us
of life, you know.
storyteller.
Yeah, storytelling.
EDM-ish
Yeah.
kind of polka, reggae,
Wiffle ball,
wiffle
kind
ball,
of
rock
inspired.
steady,
Star
Yeah.
Wars.
kind of yoga funk,
With that politics.
Star Wars, Jedi.
So, on behalf of Stephen Sipes, who has been so generous to...
What's up, Steven?
We're
We
grateful,
love you, man.
Steven.
Nice job, bro.
Big love, thank you. Yeah.
Big shout out to the wizard, Grand Pooba.
That's right.
Yeah. We wanted to really support you guys and host you here. And the All One Era magazine. We're just so grateful that you guys have come and that you're sharing the love. And we hope before you leave too, we'll get your signature on our 2020 declaration to make the Okanagan 100% organic. I know that you all are, very passionate about that as well. So thanks again. Thanks for being here.
Thank you,
Tara.
Tara.
Thank you.
Yeah. Huh. Breath control, steady breath control. Take a deep breath, then I'll let it all go. Breath control, steady breath control. Take a deep breath, then I'll let it all go. In this modern day age of misinformation, too much complication over stimulation. We need to ease the stress of the situation, so I focus on my breath, steady concentration. Breathe in, breathe out. Release the stress, I just let it fall out. Breathe in, breathe out. Release the stress, I just let it fall out. Inhale, exhale. My rhyme is kind of fat, reminiscent of a whale. Inhale, exhale. Let it all go. Let it all go. Inhalation, inspiration. Take a deep breath, increase the vibration. Exhalation, exaltation. Shine a bright light into creation. When I'm in the yoga pose, let the lotus unfold. Breathe slow, take my time in the temple. Inside the pyramid, are you hearing it? Please don't be fearing it, because we're appearing kid. In the minute when I spit it infinite. Off the top of the dome, every time that I kick it, get it, got it, can't stop it. Electric, taking off like a rocket. Blessing manifesting from the chest, yes, so fresh. DJ Drez is in the place, and the drummers. Open. And I appreciate the opportunity to say something. One thing I like to leave you with, dedicate this to all those young kids struggling to find peace of mind. Take your time, look inside, you will find a light that shines in a moment. This message has been brought to you by the poet Amanda, DJ Drez. I'm sure he's signing out.